Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the Watchpoint Postshow. That's right, we are live from the Blizzard Arena here in Los Angeles, and it's time to party. I'm your host, Chris Puckett. I'm joined by the whole crew. We've got Zoe, we've got Bren, we've got Sideshow, and we learned a lot today, as always, didn't we, guys?
Of course.
We certainly did. Some of us learned more than others. You know, some of our predictions were okay. You know, some people had a bit of difficulty with their predictions.
Okay.
Did you get four of them right?
Sorry.
No,
I didn't think
Sorry,
so.
whoa.
Go ahead, Brad.
You're picking yourself up like you got a lot of predictions right here. How many did you get right today?
2.
Yeah,
Two.
and how many did I get right today?
2.
Exactly.
Wow.
So,
Equal to
Really?
Brad.
That was just an opportunity.
take the mic away.
Well,
Just
All
take
right.
the mic away.
Brandon, let's start with you. What did you learn today, other than that you were equally smart as Josh? here?
Yes, I am.
Big
Thank
takeaway,
you
yeah.
for pointing that one out.
Big
I learned
brain.
that, listen, I had a conflict of, I don't know how to describe this really, sort of a split in terms of who I wanted to predict today out of the Chinese teams. My new favorites, Chengdu, or the old favorites, Shanghai. And I realized I should always stick with Shanghai.
Going
At the
back
end
to
of the day.
Shanghai?
I think so. Well, if they accept me back, that is. I don't know if they will.
I don't think they will. Zoe, what about you?
You know, it's been generally it's an exciting day. It's been an exciting week. The Event Horizon telescope captured the first picture of a black hole. Valiant won their first game. What a time to be alive. I'm marveling. It's great.
It's been fantastic. I've been watching the
be
two people behind you stretch up as high as they possibly can. What about you, Josh?
Okay, my takeaway from the day today is that Boston Uprising should start throwing on assault maps because they only win when they get reverse sweeps. So stop winning on assault.
chokes
Yeah.
on
Trying to
them.
get too
Don't
greedy.
win in the first half, guys.
Exactly.
Save it all for the end. Well, we ended our matches today with a battle between two of our 4 Chinese teams when the Chengdu Hunters went up against the Shanghai Dragons. You know this because you just watched it, but in case you didn't, let's catch you up. It was all tied up at the half, and that led to a King's Row map that the Shock Boys, Sinatra and Super, were hyping up.
Yeah, and honestly, Jinmu is mental. He has no fear on Genji.
Yeah, he
It's
does.
unbelievable. He
You don't
pulls
stab
his blade out
tires?
into a tire. Well, I love watching this guy because he just has absolutely no fear whatsoever. But you gotta say that they got out DPS'd unbelievably, and not so much on King's Row, though. There definitely was a bunch of DPS run from the Shanghai Dragons. But over the course of this entire series, Shanghai took kind of the messy atmosphere that Chengdu likes to create, dominate.
Yeah, but I love that they did that. Mr. X was hitting on that. He did say that they got outplayed in their own game. It's usually Chengdu who's like throwing out those weird compositions and that aggression. And Shanghai, they fought fire with wildfire, actually. And
Yeah.
they just one
Yeah.
upped them in their game, and it worked out great.
Dig
will
was
say-
so good.
I will say in particular, I mean, it's easy to focus on the DPS matchup because it was so good between the two teams. But Kamasu had a fantastic game, I think, heating up in King's Row and moving into Jungatown.
Ameng didn't have a great game.
Yeah, and
this is
Ameng
one of
did
the
not
first
have a great
times,
game.
for one of the first times I can point to a game and go, okay, Ameng really didn't have that much impact today.
You didn't see a whole lot of wrecking ball
That's
compared
true.
to the other matches.
Yeah, he was
It's
mostly
one of my
on Ryan.
concerns.
Yeah, and I think Gamsu got the better end of him. But we know that Ameng can play a decent Ryan as well. I think just stuff wasn't working out in the Hunters camp today. I think they got thrown off their game by how well Shanghai could play.
Bren, do the Hunters bounce back after today's loss? Do you think,
I
this
think
team's
so.
still in it?
We've looked at their games coming up. It's of reasonable difficulty, I think. They've got the Gladiators coming up, London Spitfire as well, which I think are going to be the hardest. But I think they can end this stage with a very solid record. And I think finishing the first 2 stages with over 50% of the wins coming in for your matches, that is an achievement because that sets you up for great success getting playoffs in the long run. So I think they're in a good spot.
On the other side of things, the Shock Boys told us, look out for the Shanghai Dragons. Definitely a team that we all knew had potential. They're starting to show it here in the league. We got to keep talking about some of the other matches we saw today, including the Boston Uprising, who came into today trying to keep their Stage 2 win streak alive. But it was the Hangzhou Spark who had other plans. That's right, the Spark came out on Oasis and Crystal for the first time. Just like YXL, got to see the Overwatch League stage, and this man, he went undefeated.
So I was pretty hot on the Hangzhou Spark, but I am going to be honest, I was kind of basing it off of the Scrimbucks that I had heard, the whispers, in the winds almost.
After a whole stage of not seeing it, I believe it.
Everyone bigs up Hangzhou. Every player we speak to says that they're a brilliant team in scrims, and now we finally got a little bit of a glimpse of that. Almost.
Well, here's the weird thing, though. The teams always talk about them playing DPS comps in scrims. And we didn't even see that much DPS come out from them. I mean, yeah, there's a scattering. They played some Bastion on Oasis. They played some Junkrat.
It's either Spark playing mind games on all other teams, or all the teams playing mind games on us.
They're just
like, I'm not sure who's winning this one.
But it was kind of strange because Hangzhou looked their best when they had Crystal actually in the lineup.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, okay, so what's the reason that they brought him in today? Have they actually fixed some of the language barriers that perhaps were blocking it previously? Did they just want more DPS from him? Because he is more flexible and powerful, in my opinion, than Adora. But he ended up actually playing majority Brig. But those maps were the ones that they won, and he actually looked pretty decent on Brig. So a complex situation with the Hangzhou Spark throughout this match.
Going into Blizzard World, it was all tied up one apiece, and this is where we expected Boston to do Boston things. They're going to take over the second half and close this one out, right? No, wrong. It's Gods being the Sombra causing problems. You saw all kinds of different compositions coming into play, and ultimately, it was the Spark looking, well, I guess they did find a win here. It was Boston, excuse me, but it was the Spark close.
Yeah,
it was super close, and it wasn't that classic thing that happened in the second half where Uprising come out with a good read of their opponents and dominate. It was very different to the last few matches we've seen from them.
Yes, and I anticipated, honestly, we said at halftime, Josh, I will own up, you know, Boston Uprising, as soon as they took that assault map, we assumed they were going to start heating up coming into the second half. We assumed they were going to start to get the ball rolling. They did a little bit, but then Junkertown comes about.
The ball popped.
Junkertown is an odd map because it produces some erroneous results. I've got to be careful with my words there. You know, here and there, they're all over the place generally. We saw this in 2018 with the Overwatch League season then, and we're seeing it more so now as well in particular. And then it went to the map 5, and
this was the play of the day. Color Hex with the grab gets killed 3 times in a row trying to get back to the point.
If Color Hex wouldn't have been killed that first time, Boston would have had it.
Yes,
that was their game to win. And I think when those guys went off the stage, you could see it in his face. Like, he knew it.
Yeah.
If you guys
Crystal again here kills both Color Hex and then Kellex in a situation against Zoe where they would have won if he hadn't done that.
I have to say, if you missed any of the matches today, this is the one to go back and watch, especially that Game 5. One of the best Game 5s we've had all season, and it meant a lot to the Spark. You could see the emotions on stage.
It really did. Sure. And I was so excited to see Gushue clutching it out again on his Winston with the Primal Rage. It needed to come in big, and it did come in big. Yeah, it was just the whole team. Really good crisis management from Spark.
Josh, you kind of talked about it during the highlights, but let's dive deeper into Crystal. You want to see more from this guy?
Yeah, definitely. I think now that they seem comfortable running him in the lineup, I'd love to see Crystal come back in. We saw from the Overwatch World Cup that he has amazing synergy with Gushue. He's a very individually talented player. He can play a bunch of different heroes. His Genji is really powerful. He can also play the Widowmaker when required. He's got a good Junkrat. He can play a bunch of different stuff.
He's got the same win rate as IDDQD.
100% after one match.
Win rate.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame material right there for me, guys. That is going to do it for our first 2 match coverage. But coming up on the Watchpoint Post Show, Dogman barks some fighting words during his match against the LA Valiant. You don't want to miss that. Grab a Coke. We'll be right back. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. So far this season, it looked like the Los Angeles Valiant's wings were broken. They were desperately trying to secure their first win of the season today when they faced off against the Atlanta Reign. And, well, things looked pretty decent to start things off. You saw the Valiant with KSF popping off on that Zarya. This is something you pointed to multiple times at halftime, Josh. KSF was getting the better of Baby Bay in this matchup.
Yes, definitely. And it's weird because we really haven't seen much from KSF throughout the entirety of his career. The first time he was brought in, they played Blizzard. Well, they got full held. Well, that also happened on this.
Always bigged up, though.
But but you're right. He's always bigged up by the team. They know he's capable of good stuff. And whatever is holding him back, they've started making headway to reduce it. However, they did just get slapped around.
It was nice to see this Paris map. Baby Bay with that first grab, setting up the bomb from Fried, and then, of course, you saw...
I was on Dogman here, though. Like, my eyes were on Dogman. I think a lot of the fights they actually won there was because he had great Bionate on his Ana, and his timing's really great. I generally think it was nice to see him back in the lineup over Kodak. I felt like they had a little bit more success when he was playing with them.
Dogman on the Batiste, doing work on Paris. Well, after that Atlanta Reign, we're able to take map 2 and tie the series up, as you just saw, and Dogman had a little bit of feedback for the crowd in the Blizzard Arena.
Come on, man, Peter, stand up! Stand up!
Has anybody ever told you?
To kick your team! Go! Let's go!
That's right. Who called me a feeder? Stand up, stand up. Somebody did. Props to that guy in the crowd.
I like that. Did he stand up?
Yeah.
That was a classic meet you at LAN. Like, I like it.
I love it.
It worked, and Dogman really seemed to feed off of this, guys, because Atlanta got right back to business in map 3.
Yeah, they absolutely did. I love that Dogman's got so much energy when he comes on there. He knows how to make a character of himself. He doesn't care if the home crowd hates him. He just wants that win. And they came out doing pretty well again here. They actually had a fantastic performance, and LA Valiant looked totally crumbled at this point. And I was worried this was the classic LA Valiant thing where maybe they look good at some point, but they just make too many mistakes and end up throwing a series away.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one looking at this because this is Atlanta Reign now. A reoccurring issue seems to be right now of them kind of struggling to close out some of these series and struggling to play as a team when the going gets rough, which has happened in numerous times now, as we've seen now in stage 2. And it just got a little bit worse. Now, to spin the conversation on a more positive light from Valiant's side, this is good that Valiant have got a win under their belts because they were never the worst team in the league, like the standings were suggesting. I think that they definitely always had the potential there. You know, they could have beaten Florida. They still can beat Florida and Justice. I think they are a better team than those two teams. But this narrative was developing around them being the worst team was just a little bit unfair.
That 99-99 shatter block from Fate, so big in the game 5. It went all the way to the round 3 of Control, and ultimately the hometown crowd, they got what they wanted.
Yeah, and just to follow up off Brent's point and talk a little bit about Basan, what we always see from the LA Valiant is kind of mediocre gameplay as an average, and then occasionally terrible mistakes. And what I liked that they did was make far less of those terrible map-losing mistakes. And it might sound like super obvious analysis, but I think there is something crucial there, is that LA Valiant, in general, don't play that badly, but then occasionally they just throw the game away. And if they can minimize those instances where they play horribly and end up losing the map, you get situations like this where they're able actually to clutch it out because their average gameplay is just slightly better than the opposing team.
So what you're saying is play better forehead.
Make less mistakes forehead. Yes, basically.
So to wrap this, for the Valiant, yes, they get their win, right? They had a very rough start. Do they continue winning from here on out? Do you think that you've seen enough today from this squad, or do they still have work to do?
Still have work to do. Like I said, I think the two teams they beat right now, maybe it's like in my mind as well, because again, Florida and Justice are improving at a steady rate. I do still think that they are currently better than those two teams.
They only play both of those guys once as well, because they're in the Pacific Division and Mayhem and Justice are in the Atlantic. So that's
lucky for them.
That's a big
Valiant
deal.
is not going to have an easy run, though. The next game is going to be against the Gladiators, and Gladiators look really good right now.
Oh, yeah.
So they might end this week on a bit of a low note.
Battle for LA. You never know what's going to come out of that one. That will be a great match on Sunday, I guarantee it. Let's keep it rolling, though, because we got to talk about the shock. You guys said they were a top 2 team in the league right there with Vancouver, and they sure made a statement against the Guangzhou Charge when the teams faced off last week. Well, today, they were right back at it. The same old business from the Shock. Just some new style points today.
Yeah, I will say, when we had Super and Sinatra on the halftime, they didn't look tired. Let's put it like that. They looked like it was a little bit of a breeze. But that's expected at this point from the Shock. They're so tight, so coordinated, so thick. They've really kind of developed themselves into being such an extraordinary team throughout. You know, they built off 2018, and now they're really here, and they're
Can I
really
ask
for real.
purely about Super? Because there's so many times today where his charges, even a Doomfist, mid-punch, gets charged, and they both just fall to the ground. His reaction time is at the top, maybe the best I've seen so far. Where does Super rank amongst the other top tanks in the league right now? Is he top 3, top 5? Is he gunning for that #1 spot?
So I put a bit of time into talking about this last stage when I was watching him at the end of the Stage 1 finals, and I would have certainly said at that point that he was a top 5 main tank, and he just keeps getting better. So I think I'd have to go through it a little bit more in detail and think about who else I've got in that top 3. Like guys like Bumper and Mano are almost hard locks in that position. But I'd say that maybe Super is right behind them as a top 3. I think he's been fantastic. Shock in general gets talked about as like the gods plus Super, but I think Super definitely put some respect on that guy's name. He's good now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, really. I mean, as well, he follows the lead of Ameng. He said it himself. You know, he looks up to him as his inspiration. Understandable. But I'll say it again every single time. Charge. What I will say, actually, is that Guangzhou kind of disappointed me a little bit in terms of their play coming into this match. Because I was expecting them to turn it around at least a little bit. Early on, there were some signs of life, if you will. But as the series progressed, and when we got to Gibraltar here, they just looked absolutely checked out.
They didn't leave their spawn. They couldn't leave their spawn.
they looked checked out.
Spawn camped like it's an actual ranked game. That was painful to watch. I do think though there were a few signs of life still on that roster. I think Shu himself still had a very good performance. He was playing really well on Zenyatta as well as on Diana. He actually hit a lot of sleep darts early on in the series, and even towards the end he still matched up against Violet very well, statistically at least. That means something considering how high Violet is actually ranked right now.
I think my favorite part of that whole match was watching the Charge desperately trying to sneak over to the payload and Moth the Lucio coming back and denying everybody. As you take a look at the remaining games here for the Charge, we have to ask, when is that streak going to end? Where do they actually get a win? Because this is now 19 of their last 20 maps that they've dropped.
I think Spark could be potentially close. I think Gladiator is going to be a tough one for them. Still within the realms of possibility. It's difficult to judge where Charge are at right now because they're on this, like, in this slump almost. They faced Shock twice and been absolutely slaughtered by them.
It's going to crush your morale.
And it absolutely is going to crush your morale. But if Charge can bounce back from this, all of their next 4 games are winnable, theoretically.
Especially the last 2, though. If I was them and I found a fan of the Charge, I'm looking to see how they perform against Atlanta Reign and Outlaws. It could be an incredibly rough stage, and it has been incredibly rough for their entirety of 2019. Even though they've been good in Stage 1, they got a tough strength of schedule, faced the Titans twice at their peak, now facing the Shock twice at their peak. It's got to be rough for the Charge right now.
Shock on a winning streak, Charge trying to break their losing streak. We'll see if they can get it done later in the week. Coming up, we've got a very special muscle hamster. That's right. The Yada Chat, is that what you're calling him, Brad?
That's correct.
Yada Chat, I got that right. It's going to be Ameng on the show. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to the Watchpoint Post Show. If you've been watching the Overwatch League the last couple of months, there's no way you don't know our next guest. That's right, he's on one of the most exciting teams in the league right now, and he's bringing the hamster back. Welcome to the desk. We have Ameng, and of course, our insider, Emily Tang, who is going to be helping us out with some translation. First of all, Emily, can you help us with this one? How do we pronounce your name correctly? We've seen it all over Twitter in a billion different ways. How do you want to be known? What should the fans be saying at home?
你的名字正确的发音是？
我名字正确发音是 Ameng。
Ameng. Have we been doing it right? Good.
那你的评价就是对他们发音的评价是什么呢？
挺不错的。
Oh, pretty good.
I like it. I like it. Brian, keep it rolling. What do we got for him?
So, the first time everyone really started talking about you was your game against the Titans, where you manhandled Bumper. So, you were always playing Wrecking Ball to a high level, but this was the first time we saw you really performing on Reinhardt. So I guess, could you tell us a little bit about that experience? Were you expecting so many people to start talking about you in the West after that result?
I'm still wondering what the Chinese translation for manhandle would be.
Yeah, I mean, do your best. I don't know.
Try my best. 就是说，在第一阶段，就是大家看你打温哥华的时候，就是你把 Bumper 给拿下，就是特别给力嘛。然后之后呢，你打的 Reinhardt 也不错，所以你能不能简单解释一下，就是你怎么打的这么好呢？
我对莱因哈特的掌握其实还算可以吧。就是我们第一阶段的话，我们的配合还不够好。当然我们现在的 DC303 打的也不算特别好吧，还需要加强。
So I feel like the way that I execute Reinhardt could be improved. In the first season, we didn't do our best. Like our coordination was a little off. And right now, like our goats can still be improved. Did we answer your question?
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a reasonable political answer. You know, it's like you can tell he's media trained. So.
You know, we get him there eventually. Now, going from Reinhardt back to some Wrecking Ball talk. You played him before, he was cool. Now with the recent changes, specifically to the adaptive shield. Did you feel like you changed your play style on him at all, or are you still playing exactly the same as before?
那跟上一个阶段比起来，你现在打破坏球的这个玩法方式有没有变？
相对于上个版本来说，我现在玩破坏球的方法并没有多大变化，但是因为破坏球被 buff 了，还有很多输出英雄也被 buff 了，所以我们现在破坏球体系打得比较好。
刚才就是第一段我没继续。
玩法没有。
你玩法没怎么变，对吧？So in general, my playstyle hasn't changed much, but as you heard, you know, Wrecking Ball's been buffed along with some other heroes, so I think we're all like adjusting, but for the best.
All right.
So I think it would be fair to say, Ameng, that you are the best Wrecking Ball that we currently have.
Number one
Wrecking Ball.
The best.
When you see other people play Wrecking Ball, what are the biggest mistakes that they make?
那么大家都说你是打破坏球的第一玩家，对吧？那你看别人打 Wrecking Ball 的时候，你有没有看过别人的失误啊，或者什么的？
我看别人打破坏球的时候，都会去观察他的想法，都会去思考他在想什么，然后去弥补自己的不足。
但是没有会看到别人出错吗？
别人经常看到会别人犯一些错误吧，然后就联想到自己，就让自己变得越来越好。
Okay. I like to observe when other gamers are playing Wrecking Ball, and I like to see what mistakes they make so that I can improve mine. And yes, sometimes he will see other people make mistakes, and he just likes to tie it back to how he would play Wrecking Ball better.
Can I ask a bonus question? Who is the second best Wrecking Ball in the league?
那打第二好的破坏球是谁呢？
我个人觉得是广州队的 Roy。
Rio, I think Rio from the Guangzhou Charge.
Rio, I like that. Very cool. All right, well, Ameng, we're going to ask you our favorite part. This is rapid fire. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. You have to answer as fast as possible. Emily, you're going to help us with the translation?
Yes. 快问快答，准备好了吗？
准备好了。
Ready when you guys are.
All right, Emily, kick us off.
All right, so I'm going to start first, and my question is, 如果你可以把橘子摔在任何人的头上，你会选择谁呢 ？If you could smash an orange on anyone's head, who would it be and why?
自己的头上吧。
Oh, my own head.
Oh.
Why? 为什么？
因为我觉得这个不是很礼貌的一个事情。
Because I don't think it's a very polite thing to do.
No, reasonable.
Good guy. Good guy. Josh?
So wholesome.
Okay.
So nice.
All right, here we go. Rapid fire question. 除了破坏球，谁是最棒的英雄？
听懂了吗？再来一遍。
Again.
Again. Okay. 除了破坏球，
除了破坏球，
谁是最棒的英雄？
谁是最棒的英雄
除了破坏球，我觉得最好的英雄是 Diva。
？Diva.
Diva. There we go. I forgot what my question was.
Best hero not named
Best
Wrecking
hero
Ball.
not named
That's the one.
You did good. You did good, Josh. It's my turn, though, all right? Nigung, Shihuan, Shangmao, Haixie, Tangshu.
更喜欢仓鼠吧。
He prefers the hamster.
Yes! I knew I asked that perfectly.
All right, time for me to mess it up. 如果你养仓鼠作为宠物，你会起什么名字？
就叫它 Ameng 吧。
He would name it Ameng.
Shongma, Jendi, Shigele Rema.
Okay. Sorry.
That's a swing and a miss.
Again.
Try again,
Okay.
Brad. Try again.
All right, we'll try again. I get nervous when I'm on camera. I've been practicing for ages, but I always mess it up. I always mess it up.
Just like you were doing it in the bathroom.
Okay.
You got this.
Okay. Shongma, Zhengde, Zheng.
Try again. Try again. One more.
All
One
right,
more.
all right. One more. Shong.
Best analyst on the desk.
Stop laughing. Stop laughing. Shongma, Zhengde, Shigele Renma.
熊猫真的是个猎人吗
Sounded exactly the same.
在中国，熊猫是国宝。
？In China, the panda is the national treasure.
Okay.
But
you
not
go.
a hunter.
所以你同意是猎人吗？就算是。
我同意吧，同意是个猎人。
Oh, I agree. Yeah, the panda could be a hunter.
Cool.
No, I
There you go.
disagree.
Hunter of bamboo.
No, even bamboo can get away. Pandas are lazy.
Have you seen Kung Fu Panda
last-
before, Zoe?
Oh, good point.
Last
Yes.
rapid fire question. I'm going to do this one in English. If you weren't playing Wrecking Ball or main tank, what role would you want to play in the Overwatch League?
如果你不打破坏球或主梯的话，你还会想打哪个角色？
我最喜欢的英雄就除了破坏球以外就是 Diva，还有黑百合。
Aside from my favorite, which is Wrecking Ball, I like Diva and Widowmaker.
All right, I like that. I'd love to see him on Sniper one day. We'll see if that can happen. Thanks so much for Ameng for joining us here, and thank you, Emily, of course, for helping us get through all of that Mandarin. The rest of us are not done quite yet. We've got our most over-the-top moments of the day coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Wake up, we're still live. Welcome back to the Watchpoint Post Show. It's time for the most over-the-top moments of the day. We're kicking things off at number 5. Crystal, welcome to the Overwatch League. I like your passion.
This is sick. It's so good. I love him on projectile heroes as well. And then the Bastion is just like, it's only a projectile hero as soon as you activate your ultimate. So that's when he did his most work.
It's a crazy projectile as well. It's too quick.
It really is.
Doing work at number 5. DM, his Hanzo. Does it get much better than this?
I don't want to say I told you so, but I was bigging up DM and Ding as potentially the best DPS duo in the whole
Shanghai?
league.
You did?
No, I didn't predict Shanghai.
I remember that quote.
But DM and Ding are honestly sick, and I hope we get to see them more on DPS, because DM can play almost anything, and Ding's, Farah and Hanzo are some of the best in the world.
Shanghai on the up and up. There's a little sample of it at number 4. At number 3, we take a look at the Hunters. It's Jinmu, not on the far, but the Genji today that got us excited.
I love this play because Jinmu plays Genji like I do in ranked, but he's just better. So, like, he gets away with it. He just kind of just ints into the back line.
I mean, the plays look don't have the You just don't have the team support, really.
Yeah, no, you're right,
yeah.
Zoe.
Just like Bren. Yeah,
That's such a lie.
Just like me.
So clinical. He's like, you know what? The tires can be right there. I'm going to cut it down. Bren does that all the time. Number 2, it's IDK with the biggest brain play of the day.
I feel like this should be number 1. The brain wrinkles on this man to know what the win condition is and to recognize that he could potentially swing this in the favor of Hangzhou. Literally the game-winning play for them. Like, it's just an unreal play from IDK. And then Crystal follows it up as well by clutching. Just madness all around by Hangzhou.
Probably should give you a little backstory. Boston was going to win that if the grab gets to the point.
Definitely, 100%. And then look at this. He just got a load of dinks on aim god there as well.
Whole lot of dings. At number 1, the Valiant. They did it. They pull it off against the Atlanta Reign after losing games 2 and 3. They battle back, taking the 4th, and most importantly, the 5th in the 3rd and final round. Finally, off of that losing streak, and now we'll see, can they keep the wins coming? They got a big one against the Gladiators coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay.
I hope it can reignite them and actually instill some confidence back into this squad, because I think that was really lacking for a while, and now Custer's come back in. He's that vocal leader for them. They can start pushing now.
Looking ahead, tomorrow, it all kicks off with another rematch of our inaugural season grand finals between London and Philadelphia. The Titans look to continue their win streak against Houston and Dallas. Yeah, we get a chance to see Dallas as they go up against the Defiant, while the Gladiators try to stay hot against the Charge to close out the day. Josh, let's talk about what you're most excited for tomorrow. Which big match are you looking forward to?
I'm actually looking forward to seeing Dallas play. I think that'll be really interesting. There's only a couple of teams that we haven't seen so far in the whole of Stage 2, and Dallas are one of them. And they're just coming fresh off that RCK note trade, right?
That's right.
And we have no idea how that's going to work for them.
I liked when they brought over Unko. Now you got Note. We'll see what else is going to be brewing down there in Dallas. What about you, Brent?
Pretty hyped for the first match of the day. Rematch, you know, of the grand finals. It's easy pickings, really, isn't it? You know, will it be of the same level? Will Philly manage to get a revenge? Who knows? I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Watch Fury. Watch the Diva. What about you, Zoe?
Well, Brent got his revenge. That was my point. Congratulations.
Stolen it for once.
Yeah, I guess you know what? We never made a rule about us not looking forward to the same 2 games, so I'm picking the same one. I want to know if those 2 teams are for real. London disappointed me in their first game they played. They looked ill-prepared, even though they did win it. They did get a good, they did better in their second game against Atlanta. They looked dominant. So now I think Fusion might be the team which actually pushes them to the point where we can see if they're for real. Are they really comfortable on this meta or not? And I'm looking forward to see that.
2 teams in that tier 2, guys? Safe to say? Tier 3 maybe for one of them?
Yeah, I think so. I think these are 2 teams in the tier 2. But like Zoe said, we'll just have to wait and see, because they've looked a bit up and down.
It's going to be a good sample tomorrow. That's coming, of course. We start the day at 11:30 with Watchpoint. The games kick off at 12. But before we end Watchpoint's post-show, so we got some bonus work to do right now. Will you do us the honors?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask, Puck. Let me talk about the Twitch leaderboard.
Yes.
Yeah, a favorite part of the show. I need some more hype music, please.
Nah, this is great.
Do something.
Not
Change
feeling it?
I guess I'll roll with it. All right, let's go. Let's start at the bottom. Vancouver Titans, you might be #1 in the league right now, but you're not on our Twitch cheer bits board. I don't even, is that what it's called? I'm not even sure. Anyway, Atlanta Reign, you guys are doing great. Fans are still coming in hot with them bits. So keep them coming. Well, I don't know.
You're crushing,
do whatever it is. Am I still going on this one?
You're still growing.
Let me read out some names. Like number 4, Son of a dragon. Oh,
Who is that at number 7?
Number 7.
Is that Lackish Bobby?
It's Lackish Bobby.
Lackish Bobby's back in action.
Calm down, Brent. Calm down. This is Zoe's time.
Bantamap also got in. Yeah, why are you like...
Sorry. I get so
blurting
excited
about
at the Twitch Cheer Bits leaderboard. Sorry.
It's okay. So can you read number 4 for me, though?
It is... Oh, my goodness. Son of Dragon Cho Kangyeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
Let's go with that.
And
yeah,
Phantom
thanks
Matt.
a lot, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks a
appreciate
lot.
all
Appreciate
of you. So you did a great job. High five.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
highest of 5s right there. And speaking of Twitch, coming right up after the Watchpoint post show, you don't want to miss the live Q&A. We got Diem from the Shanghai Dragons. Come talk to them about the big win. And remember, you can only access it with the Overwatch League All Access Pass. So if you don't have it on Twitch, go get it right now, because that's coming up after Watchpoint. Thank you so much to Ameng for joining us on the desk today. Tomorrow, Malik is back, and the whole crew kicks off our morning show at 11:30 Pacific. So set your alarms now. We'll see you on the pre-show.